We all are beginning to focus on the right things for our country. So, Madam Waziri, the CSS present here, the Governor of Central Bank and your team, Mr. Chairman of Central Bank, IG and your team, the good people of the leaders of Nairobi, and stakeholders in this space. Good afternoon again. I am very happy to preside over this occasion. And I want to thank the Central Bank of Kenya for coming on board this police housing complex, a landmark project, and a shining example of what innovative and collaborative partnerships can achieve. This modern complex, comprising 210 fully furnished units, 200 two-bedroom and 10 three-bedroom apartments, will provide dignified, decent, and quality homes for police officers attached to the Central Bank. It marks a significant step towards and forwards in restoring the pride and dignity of our law enforcement officers by granting them access to living conditions befitting the noble role that they play. This project was born of an innovative memorandum of understanding between the Central Bank of Kenya and the National Police Service. Under this arrangement, CBK leased 4.1 acres of land from the National Police Service for 60 years to build this housing complex. In return, CBK committed to constructing the National Police Leadership Academy in Ngong, Kajiado County, a facility I had the honor of commissioning in December 2022, and which is now fully operational, training senior police officers. We were informed this morning that that institution is now the premier training institution for commanders of our National Police Service as we equip them with skills and knowledge on how to better manage the security situation in our country. These two initiatives serve as a compelling proof of the impact of strategic reciprocal partnerships across government institutions in delivering lasting national value. I have had occasion to have conversations with prisons as a department, with other institutions of government, with the county government, as we look at how do we have land and space for us to do affordable housing. What this relationship between the police and CBK tells us is that it is possible for government to work together, different agencies, different departments, so that we can unlock value from the assets that we have. There is absolutely no reason why a government agency can hold onto land that they are not using appropriately if another agency of government can unlock the value from that land and value that is shared between the two institutions. And therefore, I want to encourage more partnerships, more understanding between the different agencies of government. I remember, for example, in Kitale, the prisons gave us land upon which we are now doing affordable housing. I remember in Kisii, we are discussing with the prisons department. Just last week in Homa Bay, we are discussing with swapping land between prisons and other agencies so that we can develop a center of excellence in Tom Mboya University in Homa Bay, and many other areas that collaboration and partnership is unlocking huge opportunities for growth in our republic. The ripple effect of these projects are both far-reaching and impressive. During construction, the CBK housing complex created over 500 jobs daily, employing more than 1,000 Kenyans over a 2-year period. Similarly, The construction of the National Police Leadership Academy in Ngong engaged more than 700 workers. A broad range of skilled professionals, architects, engineers, surveyors, foremen, and many young people contributed to this success. In fact, the heroes of this success are the men and women who broke sweat, soiled their hands, the bricklayers, the steel fixers, the gentlemen in Juakali who made the windows, the quantity surveyors, the people who did the real work, soiled their hands to get this project here. Those are the heroes of this moment, and we celebrate each and every one of them. Importantly, this project was built with a focus on sustainability and local economic empowerment. A significant portion of the construction materials, natural stone, tiles, windows, doors, were sourced locally. Most of the furniture was crafted by Kenyan artisans. Solar energy systems, efficient water treatment facilities, and the planting of many trees make this complex a model for green, sustainable development. By retaining much of the project's economic value within Kenya, we are creating jobs, strengthening local industries, and conserving precious foreign exchange. You've heard what Thuge said. Beyond meeting the immediate housing needs of officers serving at Central Bank, this initiative aligns with our broader national agenda to improve the welfare of all our men and women in uniform. For decades, and I mean this, many years, many of our police officers and prison wardens have lived in dilapidated, inadequate housing, even as they serve tirelessly to protect us. These are men and women who we can say lived in squalor. And yet, we expect them to do the utmost to keep all of us safe. As you are aware, housing is a key pillar of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda implemented through the Affordable Housing Program. We are building our economy from the bottom up, determined to leave no one behind. For far too long, decent housing was a distant dream for many Kenyans and a privilege for a few. From the hard-working families in our informal settlements to the brave men and women in uniform who defended our peace and security, housing was a very distant dream. I see many people still want to keep people in our informal settlements in squalor, and many of them want our policemen to continue living in tin shacks. I want to say that we will do everything possible and take whatever consequences will come our way as we work hard to get decent housing for as many of us as possible. Our law enforcement officers, who have long been overlooked in matters of housing, deserve better. Let me assure every officer that we are steadily and surely righting this historic injustice. It isn't right at all for any officer to live in houses that is too hot when it is hot and too cold when it is cold. And I want to announce here today that as part of our policy program, 20% of whole housing units being developed under affordable housing across the country will be ring-fenced for members of our disciplined forces from the military, the National Police Service, the Kenya prisons, and the National Youth Service. In addition, these officers will benefit from affordable financing through single-digit interest rates, as low as 3% for those who will buy social housing, 6% for those who will buy affordable housing, and 9% for those who will want to buy the high market houses. In addition, these officers will also benefit from what currently we are developing. Aside from what you see in this compound, through the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, we are delivering institutional housing for disciplined forces across the country. Currently, 2,300 units, specifically for police and prison officers, are under construction across 15 counties, including Tharaka Nithi, Bungoma, Tana River, Nyandarua, Mandera, Machakos, Uasin Gishu, and of course here in Nairobi. I was with Kanja in Tharaka Nithi the other day to hand over units for our policemen and women, so that either you have a facility to buy a house, to own, or you are staying in a building, in a police station that is not what we have seen before, that is decent and that is livable. In addition, procurement is underway for a further 17,000 housing units, specifically for our police service. For the Kenya Defence Forces, 3,000 housing units are already under construction, while an additional 10,000 units have recently been signed off, with construction set to commence this month. Planning is also underway for a further 10,000 housing units for our KDF personnel. As you all know, many of our men and women in uniform from KDF live in all manner of places, and sometimes it endangers them and undermines their ability to provide the most critical part of the security of our nation. And therefore, under this whole housing program, we are bringing them on board. And just for the record for all of us, all these houses will be paid for by whoever it is that will be benefiting from these houses. And therefore, the element of sustainability has been built into this program, so that the Affordable Housing Fund is not undermined in any way. Any development we are doing, whether it is affordable housing or social housing or institutional housing, like what we are doing for the police and the prisons and the KDF, or for that matter, the markets, or for that matter, the hostels we are doing for our students across Kenya, all of them will be paid for either as mortgage or as rent to own, or different formats. But at the bottom of it is that all this money will be used sustainably. And I am very clear in my mind that that is what will change our nation. These investments aim to replace old, dilapidated structures with modern, livable housing, and in so doing, uplift the morale and effectiveness of our security personnel. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the members of our disciplined forces for their unwavering sacrifice and steadfast contribution to nation building. You serve not only by upholding the law and ensuring that peace and order prevail, but also by dutifully contributing to the housing levy. Your dedication has not gone unnoticed, and your sacrifice is deeply valued as a vital pillar in our journey towards a stronger and more dignified Kenya. We recognize the unique sacrifices you make, and often serving far from your homes and families, standing guard so that the nation may thrive. It is for this reason that we are committing to providing decent, permanent housing units such as the ones we unveil here today. They offer more than shelter. They provide the assurance that even when duty calls, and sends you far away, your family will dwell in secure, dignified homes at peace and with a sense of belonging. Ladies and gentlemen, I must commend the central bank. I mean, surely, Chairman, Governor, and your team at the central bank, what you have done here is phenomenal to make sure that as our policemen and women help you provide security and secure our central bank and all its assets, you too have given back by making sure that they have this decent and dignified housing so that they can better serve you as they serve the nation. I must also commend Central Bank for the leadership in our financial sector. Mr. Governor and your team, I must say congratulations. You have led with a lot of focus. I know we continuously consult. I have told you where we should go, and you have been phenomenal. I know some of the time I have pushed you hard, but because you have a lot of experience, sometimes you have said no. And I take no with a lot of grace, because I know that this is good for all of us. And we will continue. I mean, what Treasury and Central Bank have done in the space of our economy, many people would not appreciate that the fact that we now have a stable economy, that for the first time ever in the Republic of Kenya, we have reserves of $10.3 billion. It doesn't come easy. Again, for the first time for over a year, our exchange rate is stable, and our inflation has been managed. I must commend the many people who have made this to happen. The farmers have really gone out of their way, because the biggest contributor to inflation is the cost of food. And the fact that our farmers have gone out of their way, and I speak as a farmer myself, they've gone out of their way to produce food for the nation. And it has helped significantly reduce inflation from what you had in 2022, 9.6%, to 3.8% this month. And many other actors, the people who have contributed working, you know, the community health promoters who have gone out of their way to make sure that something is happening around our health infrastructure. The many people in our construction sites, the masons, the carpenters, the steel fixers, many people don't appreciate those people who make the wheels of our economy turn. Those are the heroes. The farmers who wake up early, the people who work in all our sites, the people who wake up go to work. Those are the people who turn the wheels of our economy and make us who we are. And they are, in my very honest opinion, the heroes of our nation. I know there are many Kenyans out there. Just over the last 1.5 years, 390,000 Kenyans have left their homes to go and work outside Kenya under our program on labor mobility. And it is the reason why our remittance has moved from $4 billion to almost $5 billion, 4.9 something billion dollars, because they are making that contribution. They are working in different parts of the world, because if there is an asset we have as a nation, it is our human capital. And it is the reason why spending additional money in our education sector is something that I will continuously do. It is the reason why we are, by January next year, we will have hired 100,000 new teachers, because they are the people who train the workforce of the future. the people who are working in all these spaces would not be working in those spaces if they weren't, if it wasn't for our education system. Whether we are training them in our TVETs or our universities or in our Kenya Medical Training Centers and in all the other places, we wouldn't be having those people. It is the reason why we now have a student-centered higher education facility that makes sure that we treat every student as a student. And we make sure that students from poor families are supported adequately so that we leave no child behind. It is the reason why we have changed and made sure that any student from a poor family gets 90% scholarship to go to a TVET or a university, so that they don't drop out of school because of the inability of their parents to support them. It is the reason why we must continuously do affirmative action to carry everybody and leave no one behind. I know there are so many people asking questions. Why their maid will now stay in 11th floor on a house that eventually belongs to them. You know, they find it difficult to configure why their watchman all of a sudden will be discussing mortgage just like them. You know? I mean, that's how we carry everybody and we leave nobody behind. Only that his mortgage will be 3,000, your mortgage may be 50,000, but you know it's a mortgage anyway. So, and we are all discussing the same thing. So really, that is the problem I have with some people. They are wondering why I have all of a sudden gotten the people who would not ordinarily be in that space to be in that space. But that is how we transform a nation. I like what Governor is saying, that even as you are here, you are thinking about how Nairobi should work and how all of us should contribute towards a working city. That's as it should be, my friend. Welcome to the club. Shortly you will be called Zagai also. There's no problem. You know, but it's better to be called Sakayo and get things done. You know, so this is why we need to get the country moving. And I want to thank many Kenyans, you know, who see things positively, who are working with us towards making things work. You know, as I said day before yesterday, citizens can now pay for their contributions to SHA. Those, of course, who cannot afford to pay, we have said we are going to pay for them as government. But those who have been assessed and they can pay 300 or 500 or 1,000 or whatever it is, we are also giving them another option, that if they don't have the full 1 year premium, they can pay monthly. You know, and now we've given them an exit. As I said the other day, you can now lipa SHA pole pole, you know, and you just need to go to *147# and you will travel the journey and you will be able to be covered. The good news is that today, every Kenyan has a chance to go to hospital, be served, be treated, and pay using this government-sponsored, all-of-society SHA program. And the testimonies are all over the place. People who would never imagine that they would have a surgery and not sell their land or their livestock or call a harambe, that now they can be paid for using this facility. 100,000, 300,000, 1 million. So we are transforming this nation. We've had a difficult patch, but that is what nations are made from. You know, you have to make the decisions that transform countries and nations. And those decisions are not necessarily easy or understood initially, but everybody comes around finally to know that this is good for Kenya. And especially because we all agreed that this is the direction we all should go. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to belabor the point. I have said what I wanted to say. This is a beautiful moment for us as we celebrate this housing complex, and therefore it is now my distinct honor and privilege to officially declare CBK Police Housing Complex officially open, and now from July 1, we will have new occupants to this place. I wish them well as they come here. Thank you very much, and God bless us.
Another round of applause for His Excellency.